Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to start course on linear algebra where we will learn about different concepts and its further applications in different field. Well, while starting any course or topic, one question usually come to our minds is why we are learning this course. Well, linear algebra has application in various field. So, the first use is the extension of algebra in arbitrary number of dimensions. Most of us are familiar with 2D plane or 3D plane, but with the help of linear algebra, we can extend this notion to n number of dimensions. Also, nowadays many machine learning algorithms like support vector machines or principal component analysis uses the concept of linear algebra. In physics, we can see its application in quantum mechanics, while in chemistry, we can use the concept of linear algebra while balancing the chemical equations. Also, linear algebra has many use cases in statistics. So, in the coming weeks, we will learn different topics so that we will be well versed with the required concepts to excel in its related field. So, the topics which we are going to cover in next coming weeks are: firstly, we'll cover introduction of different concepts required for linear algebra. Second one will be system of linear equations. Then we'll move on to vector spaces, then linear transformations and matrices, inner product spaces, orthogonality, determinants, diagonalization, eigenvalues and eigenvectors, then canonical forms, then linear functional and the dual space, then bilinear, quadratic and Hermitian forms, and finally linear operators on inner product spaces. Okay, so let's start with introduction to linear algebra. So in today's lecture, we'll be going to learn about vectors, its related properties, and some of the important terminologies like dot product, normalization, cross product, etc. And in the next lecture, we'll be learning about matrices, different type of matrices and operations related to it. So let's start with the today's lecture. So at first, we'll define what is vector. Okay, so there are several quantities. If you are aware, in physics we learned about force, velocity, which had magnitude as well as direction. Okay, so basically vectors can be represented as an arrow having the proper length, or you would say magnitude, and a direction to it, and also we have to have a reference point as well. So if you consider a vector u with a coordinate a, b, c in R3, or you would say spatial plane, so as you can see from the graph, OA represents the vector. The length of line OA is the magnitude of that particular vector, with the arrow. If you can see arrow, that represents the direction of a vector. And you can also see the coordinates, that is a, b, c. So effectively, if you are aware, we can write u as a of I plus b of j plus c of k cap, where I, j and k, I, j, k are the unit vectors in that particular plane. So we'll be coming to that later, but uh, at this point you just have to remember that a vector has you know a vector can be represented by a line of a length that is equal to its magnitude, and it has to have some direction as well as one reference point. Now if you want to calculate, so if you consider two vectors here, let's say OA and OB, that is being represented as u as and v. So the resultant of these two vectors can be found out by using parallelogram law of addition, or you can see OC represents the addition of those two vectors, that is u plus v. So these all things are already, if you are studied vector calculus or introductory physics in 11th and 12th, you will be aware of all these terminologies. So we are just doing brush up to all of that. Okay, so we can generalize the above vectors that were represented in R3 to Rn. So basically vectors in Rn can be represented by an n tuples of real numbers, and it is, and if you say, we can denote this vector space Rn as an n space, and this Rn is also called as an n space. Okay, so this is another term into this Rn. So like R3 is called a spatial plane, we can call Rn as a n space. So if we consider an n tuple, uh, n tuples of real numbers in Rn, say if you represent it by u, that is by we have n different numbers like a1, a2 and an, so we can actually denote this as a vector. Okay, so and if you consider all the ai's that is present in that tuple, so these all ai's are called coordinates of u or vector u. Now just another thing, so if we want to, if we are looking for comparing two vectors, then like two vectors are said to be equal if they have same number of elements or components and all the corresponding components in both the vectors are equal. Likewise, I would just say if you represent u vector as 1 2 3, likewise till 6, let's say, and then if another vector v has to be equal to it, then we also have to write v as 1 2 3 so and so forth to 6. So it has to have same number of components as well as all the corresponding elements has to be equal. Now sometimes there are different uh, kind of representation of a vector. Likewise, if you see we were writing, if you see here u and v, so we were writing it as horizontally. So basically what we can do now, we can also represent that particular vectors as a column. So in that case, those vectors will be called column vectors, and you can see from the example we have written it is in a columnar form. So 1 2 1 5 6 all are written column wise. So sometimes we call it as column vectors, but it's just that those two are kind of different ways of representing a vector. So that's all you have to keep in mind. The next other important thing which we have is vector addition and scalar multiplication. So I think these are some important things which you'll have to keep in mind, and with that, that's gonna help you in the coming lectures. Okay, so if you want to add two vectors, say if you have two vectors here, u represented as a1 a2 till an and v till b1 b2 till bn. So first of all, you need to keep in mind that vector addition is, we can add two vectors if and only if the total number of components are equal. So here you can see that we have n elements in u as well as n elements in v, or n components in u as well as n components in v. So here the number of components are same, so we can have addition, and with addition you can correspondingly add the elements of both the vectors. So if you see the resultant, that is u plus v here, you can see it is a1 plus b1 comma a2 plus b2, so on and so forth till an plus bn. So again, just for a note, the sum of vectors with different number of components is not defined. So there is no any way that we can add two vectors with different number of components. So you have to keep all these in mind. Also, if you want to multiply a vector by a scalar multiple or real number, say k, then that effectively means that you should multiply all its components by that scalar number k. So if you see here, if you consider vector u and we are multiplying it with a real number k, then you can see we have specifically multiplied all its components with k. So now the resultant vector will be k into a1 comma k into a2 till k into an. Now to extend this feature, I mean while multiplying that scalar quantity with a vector, we can extend it and define a term that is linear combination of the vectors, and this particular thing is probably very much used in linear algebra. Okay, where we mostly have a linear combination of the vectors. So what does this effectively mean is, suppose we have some m number of vectors, okay, that is u1 u2 and um. So these all are m vectors in n space, that is Rn. Okay, so each vector has n components or n elements, and we have total of m vectors, and let's say we have m scalars as well, scalar numbers in R. So we can write the linear combination of all these vectors as k1 into u1 plus k2 into u2 till km into um. So what we are effectively doing, we are multiplying the number ki's to the vectors ui. That is, effectively we can write the resultant vector as product of all the scalars, that is ki's, to vectors ui's. So we can simplify this to write like this, or we can choose to write like this, but this this terminology is very much important going forward in the linear algebra. So you'll find many places that we are proving something or solving some question by using this linear combination of the vectors, right? So just keep this in mind. Another topic is now dot product, or you can say inner product. So let's consider some again arbitrary vectors in Rn, n space, that is u and v with n elements each. So here consider u has a1 a2 till an, and then vector v as b1 b2 till bn. So the dot product or the inner product of u and v is denoted and defined by, you can see u dot v, and it is written as a1 into b1 plus a2 into b2, so on and so forth till an into bn. So what effectively we are doing here is we are multiplying corresponding elements and then adding them each, and then adding them, right? So here we are multiplying the first component, that is a1 and b1, then adding them to a2 into b2, and so on and so forth till an into bn, right? So again, what is the physical significance of this dot product? So geometrically, if you say the dot product between any two vectors u and v is kind of how much similar those two vectors are. So to understand this, let's first have another definition of how we can write dot product. So if you see, there is another way we can write dot product here is u dot v is equal to its modulus, or say absolute value, that is the magnitude of both vectors u and v, and then the angle between these two vectors, that is theta, right? So we can effectively write u dot v is equal to modulus u into modulus v into cos theta, right? So we can write like this, and with that formula, we can then write theta as cos inverse of u dot v divided by modulus u into modulus v. And just one thing to note, that the dot product is always scalar. So you can see here u dot v is equal to a1 into b1 plus a2 into b2 till an into bn. So effectively this is a scalar number. So the dot product of any two vectors will always be a scalar one. So this you always keep in mind. So let's say if this theta which is here, which is derived here, is let's say pi by 2 or 90 degrees. Let's say if theta is equal to pi by 2 or 90 degrees, we can directly say that the dot product between two vectors, that is u into v, is 0. That is u dot v is 0, because we have to consider that these two are non-zero. The modulus, the magnitude of these two vectors are non-zero, right? These we also have to keep in mind that modulus u and modulus v are not equal to 0. So this, the non-zero modulus has to be there, right? So if you see the angle is 90 degrees or pi by 2, then we can conclude that the dot product between these two vectors is 0. So in that case, what it signifies is u and v are orthogonal or perpendicular to each other. So in general, the dot product means is how similar the two vectors are, or how well they travel against how well they travel together. Or effectively, what does it mean if you take projection of first vector onto another? So this is effectively the dot product means physically, or say geometrically. Extending this, we have another term, that is norm, or you say which is also called length of a vector. So the length of a vector, again consider vector u in n space, is denoted by this value, like this, you know, double lines, kind of is denoted like this, and it is effectively, the definition is the non-negative square root of u dot u, that is the dot product of a vector with itself. So if you say if you want to calculate the norm of any vector, you just have to take non-negative square root of its dot product, that is under root u dot u, and effectively that translates to under root a1 square plus a2 square dot 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 an square. So this is how we calculate the norm or length of any vector, right? So just to extend this, a vector is called a unit vector if the length of that particular vector is 1, okay? And equivalently what we can write, so if equivalently what we can do, we can take any non-zero vector, right, and then divide that vector with its norm or say length, then this vector, that is v cap, that is equal to v divided by its length, then this v cap is called unit vector. You can check if you calculate, if you do that, if you calculate the norm of this vector, that is v cap, it will always be equal to 1. So this we can check, we will check it later on. And what we can do, what we can also say that this unit vector will always be in the direction of that v, and the process of finding this v cap from v is also called the normalization of v or normalization of vector. So this is how we do. So basically normalization of vector means we are converting that particular vector into a unit vector, right? So this is how we do it. The next topic again comes to is finding the distance between two vectors. So again extending the formula of norm, we denote the distance between two vectors by d u comma v, where u and v are arbitrary vectors in n space containing n elements. So we denote d u v as a norm of u vector minus v vector, you can see here. And if you effectively translate the formula, it will turn into under root square under root of a1 minus b1 whole square plus a2 minus b2 whole square dot 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 so and so forth till an minus bn whole square. And just to check, if you consider spatial plane or space R3, we can see the distance between two vectors are a1 minus b1 whole square plus a2 minus b2 whole square plus a3 minus b3 whole square under root. So this is effectively what we have studied in vector calculus, or say or even you see consider plane r square, we can write, if you consider r square, then we can write d u v as under root a1 minus b1 whole square plus a2 minus b2 whole square, which is usual notion of distance which we usually see in coordinate geometry and all, right? So this is how the whole we can extend all these to an n space, okay? Now the very important thing you will see is the projection of a vector. I think this is again another important concept. So the major concepts that we have learned till now is a linear combination of the vectors, which is going to be very useful. The second is the norm or say dot product. Then this projection of a vector is very important. So if I'd say define this, the projection of a vector u on any non-zero vector say v in n space is the vector, and it is denoted and defined by this PROJ projected u comma v, that is equal to u dot v that is divided by norm of I think the length square of that v multiplied by this v vector. This is the formula. So I'll just show you how we can reach this point, or how we can calculate this the above formula. So let's denote this by star. So okay, so what I'll do, I'll consider two vectors, that is u and v, and let's say they both have a same reference point O. Okay, so let's denote the first vector as u. Let's say some another vector that is v. We can denote this as v, and the angle between, let's say, both of them is theta. Okay, so that's fine. So now what we need to do, we need to take the projection of u, like you say, on a non-zero vector that is v. So we have to take the projection of u onto v. Okay, so let's denote the projection of u, let's say in the direction of v as u star. Okay, so let's say we denote this as u star. So the first thing which we have learned earlier, that the angle between the two vectors, that is u and v, can be written as theta is equal to cos inverse, okay, and u dot v divided by the norm of it. Okay, that's fine, that this we can write it. Okay, so let's say if you want to calculate, so let's say this is a u vector, so it has a length of this u, and this v vector has a length of, let's say, v. So in terms of length, we can directly say that if we just drop a perpendicular line here, right, so the projection of this point, this will be u star. This we can directly say that this will be the projection of u on v. We can write this distance, I mean this, as a u star. Okay, and what will be the length of this u star? We can directly write by using, you know, trigonometry. That is, we can write that this u star will be u times cos theta. This is all done by trigonometry, right? This length. Okay, so now we can substitute this theta value from here, that is from 1, where we can write this as this length of u into cos theta of u dot v. This will be length of u into length of v, and we can cancel it out. We can cancel u from here, and we can write that the length of u star will be u dot v divided by length of v, right? So this is the length of this u star. Now we need to convert this into a vector, because we need to find the vector u star on the vector v. So the only thing which now we need to do is we can multiply this length with a unit vector along v. So we have already learned that to write any unit vector, we just need to, so let's say the unit vector along v will be v cap, that will be v vector divided by its length. Okay, so therefore we can multiply this unit vector to the length of u star, and we can get the projected vector along v. So basically u star can be written as its length, that is just give me we can write as u dot v divided by its length multiplied by the unit vector, that is v cap by length of v, which effectively translates to u dot v length of vector v whole square into so this is effectively the projected vector along v. If we want to project vector u on v, so this will be the method, or this will be the formula. So this you keep in mind. So as we derived earlier, now that the projected vector will be u dot v divided by length of vector v square multiplied by v vector. So this is how we calculate the projected value. Now let's consider a special type of vectors, or we discuss about a special type of vectors in spatial plane, that is in R3. So as I said earlier, we have 3 unit vectors in each of the direction of a spatial plane. So the first one is I cap, which has a coordinates of 1 or components of 1 comma 0 comma 0, and it denotes the unit vector in x direction. Similarly, j cap as 0 comma 1 comma 0, and it denotes the unit vector in y direction. And similarly k cap, which has a component 0 comma 0 comma 1, and it denotes the unit vector in z direction, right? So if you want to write any vector in a spatial plane which has a coordinate a comma b comma c, then we can directly write as u cap as a into I cap plus b into j cap plus c into k cap, and that's it. We can denote any vector in a spatial plane like this. Now one important thing which I want to discuss is a cross product here. Likewise we have seen dot product. The cross product is also a special operation on vectors, but it is only valid in spatial plane or R3. So this we have to keep in mind, that cross product is only valid in R3, not in any other dimension, right? So this we always have to keep in mind. And if you want to denote the cross product, that is written as u cross v. Likewise, like I have denoted here, u cross v, and the value of u cross v will always be a vector. So in dot product we were getting scalar value or a numerical value, but here we'll get a vector, right? So the cross product of any vector, let's say u, which is having a1 I cap plus a2 j cap plus a3 k cap, and v has b1 I cap plus b2 j cap plus b3 k cap. So the cross product will be the determinant of the, if this will be the determinant value of this square matrix, that is I cap, j cap, k cap, then a1, a2, a3, and b1, b2, b3. And if you solve this determinant, you will get the required value of that cross product, that will be a2 b3 minus a3 b2 I cap plus a3 b1 minus a1 b3 j cap plus a1 b2 minus a2 b1 k cap. So this will be the value of this cross product, and this will be a vector. So you can do that for any vector, any two vectors in spatial plane. You just need to solve this determinant, right? Now coming on to what so in dot product we saw that how similar the two vectors are. The geometrical intuition was how well they go together, or if you want to project that u vector on v vector. So the dot product measured the similarity between two vectors. Opposite to that, the cross product measures the orthogonality, or you say how much different these two vectors are, u and v. So effectively, if you calculate the cross product u cross v of any two vectors in the spatial plane, that will be the vector perpendicular to both these vectors, that is, it will be orthogonal to u as well as v. So let's say I'll just give you an example. So if you consider this as a u vector, let's say, and if you consider v, let's say any vector like this, so basically the resultant vector, that is u cross v, will be perpendicular to all this value. Okay, this will be u cross v. So this is how it it is defined, that the cross product actually measures the orthogonality, or you say how much different these two vectors are. And if you want to calculate the length of that cross product, you can directly calculate it by length of u into length of v multiplied by sine theta. So this is how we calculate the length of this cross product. Directly we can calculate the length of the cross product, or length of the orthogonal vector corresponding to u and v. and theta will be the angle between these two vectors. So that's all I think. This is all about, or you'd say, this is just a brush up of the vectors and its some terminologies which will be useful later. In the next lecture, what we'll do will be learning about matrices and some of its applications, so that we'll be now well versed, or you would say we'll have, we'll have till then brushed up the prerequisites of the linear algebra, and then we'll be moving on to the next topics. So thank you.